Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to finish out the album. It is time, just like the end of the week, Sunday blues comes around, and you know Monday's coming. That's where we find ourselves today as we finish out the album with the final track here. Going to be Joy. Listen, even at the end of the road, there can be some joy found. So let's go ahead and find that joy. It's been a great time listening to this album. Thank you guys for the introduction. I don't know why this thing is here up on the screen. Let me see if I can get that out of here. Let's see if that'll work. Get out of here. Get up. Go. Get. Come on. Don't. It's going to do with the thing for a little bit. You know what? Get out of here. Let's go and listen to the song. We'll discuss it after. Here we go. A little bit for some reason. Snappy little tune. Interesting note. I always have this. Get a couple like how they end with such a beautiful explosion of melody. When it kicked into like really high gear there at the end, it kind of made me think of like a beautiful firework. Of course, like this big explosion of color and constantly sparking up and lighting up the sky. But it also made me think of texturally, like looking into a kaleidoscope and seeing, of course, all these puzzling and abstract figures and geometrical shapes twisting and turning into each other, out of each other, with all these different colors and, dazzling around and everything. Because the guitars and the bass and, of course, like I said, the texture of it all had this very I just lost the word. I had the word. I knew where I was going and I just lost it. It has this like, man, what was the word I was going to use? A very colorful. Wow. That thought just put its hat down on the desk, said I'm quitting today, and just walked away. It just completely left me. Either way, the way the melodies come together and kind of cross stitch, I guess you could say, near the end, and the way they intersect and interact with one another was just really gorgeous. And production wise, it kicked up in volume, especially, but it also kicked up and brought in a fullness of the breadth of everything. Because, of course, like most of the tracks here, and even the first half of this is very light, very dreamy, but when it came into that part, the drums came up, the bass came up, the guitars came up, Harriet came up, like everyone just stepped up front and center on stage and gave a really brilliant kind of send-off really for the album here. And I think that this is a really nice send-off because there's bits of it that sound a little melancholy. There's bits of reflection, I think, here in the lyrics, and we'll kind of dive into that a little bit more. But at the end, we're finding joy, we're finding meaning, we're finding happiness at the end of this particular road. And I don't know about you guys, but it's been a very happy road traveling this one. The Lone Ranger sold his wardrobe. The Lone Ranger sold his bad dog. Well, you saw him and you can't hardly know because times change, I know. Like, okay, I've never watched The Lone Ranger, but to me this implies, his, for lack of a better word, I guess you could say, like, he's done. He's putting up his hat. He sold his wardrobe, his dog. He's moving on. And she says, well, you saw him and you can't hardly know because times change. Times change, in many respects. He's changing along with the time, his age. On some days, he's more than humble. On some days, he's cold and mad as hell. And repeats those lines. She says, however, this time, it's so strange. Well, I know. You don't always understand the things that happen as time changes and, of course, how people change along with time. But you need to understand. Those lakes of golden water, those lakes of gold are all running out. Joy, joy, work harder, sure as the hours. Joy, joy, work harder, sure as the hours. Work harder, you say. Interesting that she says at the end, you say. Is she saying that perhaps this person that she's directing her attention to is being misguided and saying like, well, the harder you work, the more joy you'll find? When, in discussing and using as an example the Lone Ranger, perhaps not. Perhaps joy is found somewhere else. Perhaps joy is defined by the individual and not by the norm or expectations in society. Maybe there is no right answer. It's kind of what I feel on this one. Anything there? Anything here? The Lone Ranger and the person she's speaking to are the same, with the Ranger being the person she knows he is, hidden below the front he shows to society. He acts as if he is another person, and she's confused by the juxtaposition of the real expressive human she knows and how he behaves. He ain't being real. He's not being real whatsoever. I hope that you guys enjoyed going through this album with me. I hope that, of course, you enjoyed this particular song and that some part of it brought you a little bit of joy. Thank you guys for the suggestion and for guiding me to the Sundays because, of course, before this album and before diving into them, I'd never heard of them before. And this is a really, really fantastic journey through the album and a really cool introduction to the band. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you so much as always for being here. Swing on back by tomorrow, and I will see you all later. Bye, guys.